Hello, dear class. This is chapter 1 concerning speaker credibility, which can be found on pages 15 to 17 of our I Speak 2013 textbook. Alright, long time ago, there was a guy named Aristotle. He lived a very long time ago. According to our textbook, 384 to 322 BCE. Long time ago. Alright, Aristotle and many of his buddies are credited with the beginning of rhetoric, which we can trace to common day public speaking is what we call it. Aristotle really came up with three things, and most, if not all, speeches have these three things. First, ethos, and then we got some pathos, and then we got some logos. Wonder what that means. Alright. Ethos, the way that I remember it, is ethics. Ethos, ethics. Very similar. I think one's based on the other. It means source credibility. What is source credibility? It really comes down to, let's say, Wikipedia versus a specific website created by Aristotle, or maybe Aristotle's biographer. So if we went to Wikipedia, and I know we can debate this all day long, but let's just say it's not fact-checked and that anyone can go on there at any time of the night or day and type in whatever they want, right? Alright, so that's Wikipedia versus some other site which we know to be credible based on fact and where they actually do their research and cite their sources. Source credibility, I'm going to go to that website versus Wikipedia. Now let's say that you do want to give Wikipedia a shot. Read whatever you gotta read. Wikipedia is actually a pretty good place to start your research, but scroll down to the bottom, go back to the original source, double check it, use the information off that original source. If you're ever I will never accept Wikipedia as a source, so just don't use it. Just go to the original source. So that's ethos, ethics, source credibility. Yay! Alright, next one we got logos. Logic. And when we see the guy, is that logical? Is that a good idea? Logical argument, logos. Does A plus B equal Z or C? You kind of gotta make sure that when you're listening to someone, it is a logical argument, that it does make sense together. Pathos. This one's gonna sound silly. Pathos, I think of pathetic, because pathetic, sort of an emotion, kinda, but pathos sounds like pathetic, which is, I then connect to emotion. Anyway, it's an emotional argument. My cat died, and I think everyone should make sure they deworm their cats, otherwise they're all gonna die, because my cat died, and I miss my cat so much. I'm just crying. Or you could use the logical argument with logos of, you should really deworm your cat because then it dies, right? But a good speech, a good speaker will be able to connect to their audience and understand that they want a little bit of both, but not too much of that emotion. Ethos is really what I want you to focus on, this first one. Ethos. Ethics, source credibility. Why should your audience listen to you as a specific person, an individual on this specific topic? Alright, so let's take me as an example here. Why should you pay any attention to what I'm saying? Well, I have a master's degree in communication, and I've taught hundreds of public speaking students. I think close to over 100. Yeah. Anyway, so I have that going for me. I have the education and then the experience, which I'd say is pretty good. Versus, Joe Schmo didn't graduate high school. What's he know about it? Unless, of course, he ends up being someone like, I don't know, does lots of public speaking. That went nowhere. Anyway, okay, so with the ethos, source credibility, why should we listen to you as a specific individual? What makes you a good source to listen to on the topic? Maybe, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about owls. Why should we go to a plant biologist to talk about owls? Well, maybe we want to know about what owls eat. You know, and that plant biologist just so happens to know a lot about owls and plants, so they know what the owls eat. Yeah. But who would be a better person to go to? An owl expert. Because they'd be able to tell you exactly. But both of those people, we could say, are pretty credible sources. Versus a third grader who is doing their first ever sort of research on anything about owls. We wouldn't really, I mean, we might listen to a little bit about what they have to say, but then we won't want to expand on it. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so what I want you to, so we've talked about ethos, logos, pathos. New speakers, which you guys definitely fit into this, oftentimes use way too much pathos or that emotional argument. They might focus on too much of, my cat died and the worms killed it. I don't know what worms do to cats. Just saying. I think that, oh, my cat died, crying. They use too much of that. Tone it back. Take away from that emotional argument a little bit. Give us some more of that logic, a little bit less of that emotion. But you know what? You guys aren't even going to have to worry about the logical and the emotional arguments too much right now. We're going to focus on that in Chapter 11 when we're talking about our persuasive speeches. What you do need to focus on right now is the ethos or the ethics, the source credibility. The audience is actually the one that decides if you're a credible source or not. You, as my student, decide whether I'm a good person to listen to when it comes to any of this. In general, or specifically about these ethos, logos, and pathos. Why should you listen to me, right? You're the ones that decide. Now, the speaker should use, what I should use to convince you that I'm a credible source are 4 things, according to our textbook, which you can find on page 215 to page 15 to 17, is common ground. Do we have something in common? I'm talking about cats. She's talking about cats. I have a cat. Ah, common ground, right? Trustworthiness. Am I a trustworthy source? Do you think I've done my research? Which kind of goes into the next one. Well, do you trust me? Do you trust what I'm saying? Which goes into the next one of competence. Do you think I'm competent or smart on this subject? Do you? Last one, dynamism. Not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but am I a dynamic speaker? Do I pull you into it? Do you just turn on these videos because Miss Ryan is just so gosh darn funny? Alright, okay, for the record, this is like the 10th video I've made tonight, so I'm a little... But if you will see it as I'm a dynamic speaker, that's a good thing. That will mean that you're kind of thinking, hey, Miss Ryan is a credible source. She does have those ethos. Yes, she does. This is a really boring lecture to give if no one's, looking at you in the room. Got my fishing poles over there, and that's about it. Okay, alright, so if you guys have any questions about this, feel free to let me know. Let me just double check. Yep. Ethos, logos, pathos. Talked about a little bit of the history, but we focused on ethos, which is speaker credibility. The end. Let me know if you have any questions.